Hi everyone, I'm Matt and welcome to Toylytics, where we take a look at the analytical side of toy collecting. Today is January 1st, 2025, so Happy New Year to everyone. And it's also the anniversary of this channel because I started it on January 1st, 2024, mainly because that'd be easy to remember in future years. So it's also the anniversary of this channel, and I'm happy to continue into 2025 here. I do want to apologize that I haven't posted since July or so. Had a lot of work to do over the last half of the year and just didn't get a chance mainly to collect and analyze all the data, which takes most of the time. I could have recorded, but didn't feel like I had a full set of data, and I spent the latter half of the year trying to catch up on that. Now I've got pretty much a full set here, and I'm ready to move forward in 2025 with a collection of market updates for various Four Horsemen lines, as well as some other lines too. I've added some other lines that I've been collecting as well, and hopefully you'll see those in the next few days as well. So in this video, we're going to do a secondary market update for the fourth quarter 2024 for the Cosmic Legions Hvalkatar Book 1 wave. A little bit of a reminder about this wave here. It's been a while since this was originally released. It was released in July 2023, pre-ordered September, October 2021, and basically it's been for sale now and available on the secondary market, as well as still in some retailers since July 2023, so for about 18 months. So let's go over and take a look at the data here and see what's been going on. So just one thing to point out in the data, if you notice quarter one has some light sales, and that's because I have a little bit of a gap in my Cosmic Legions data collection history from about late January through the end of March in 2024. So, not really that big of a deal in general, especially when we're looking at more recent quarters here now that we're into 2025. But just wanted to point that out that this isn't really a representation of how many sales that we had in 2024 in the first quarter. So looking at these overall in the fourth quarter, we still saw some pretty healthy sales. They increased from quarter three overall to, yeah, from 129 to 144 in quarter four. Not a big increase necessarily, and not a big increase for pretty much any of these figures, except maybe the Sentry doubled or so from the third quarter of 2024. But again, they sold just that many in the second quarter as well. So, we're kind of seeing some steady sales here, nothing that really stands out to me. But the point is that we're seeing these figures still being in pretty decent demand and relatively stable demand here. Nothing's going to beat the quarter when they were first released and first available. We definitely saw the most sales there, and it's going to be quite a while if we ever get to that point again with these figures. Looking at the sales by month, it's interesting to see that we have sort of a repeating pattern here, right? So we had the first spike in sales that happened in August 2023, then another spike in December 2023, then a spike in May 2024, and notice again another relative spike, not as high, of course, but a relative spike in August and a relative spike in December again. So the August spike from 2023 repeated, the December spike from 2023 repeated. We'll have to see going forward into 2025 if this spike from May repeats in May 2025 in a few months. But anyway, just looking at it overall, you can see that in general, a lot of these figures are selling maybe anywhere from about 6 to 10 units per month on the secondary market. The most number of sales here, kind of maybe surprising that we saw 10 sales for the Tusk Engineer in December 2024. We also saw 8 for Zerian Spire and 7 for the Tusk Sentry. So a lot of those army builders are still in pretty significant demand here as well. Looking at the average price by wave, this is just the fourth quarter 2024 prices. The bar shows the average, the orange dot shows the maximum sale, and the blue dot shows the minimum sale. So you can see, not surprising, that Slog is the highest with an average of about 94.69. Kragnar with about $74. Sphexian Prison Guard, 53. Sphexian Block Commander, a little bit less pricey than that, a little bit cheaper than that, about 48. Oleg Thygar Hvalkatar, that's the deluxe figure, only selling for 47.29, and then the Grave Ring, the blue unarmored version of Oleg Thygar, selling for about $40, 40.50. Borga 35, Ziri Inspire. Oops, sorry, that was the minimum of 35. Borgus average selling right around 40 or so. Ziri Inspire selling for 39. So a lot of these, regular figures in the wave, the standard figures selling for still below retail. I mean, all of these are below retail. Kragnar is probably the closest to his retail. His retail was $80, and he's selling for 74. But all of these are selling below retail. The Tusks, the Army Builders, the Engineer is the highest price, 36.50. The Science Officer with about $36, and the Tusk Sentry a little bit cheaper at 34. And a couple other things like hands packs and the Relic of Lost Cronin heads and things like that. So again, the point here is that even 18 months out, none of these figures are selling consistently on average at their retail price. Right now, a few of them, right? This slog sold for 130. The retail price was 110. You know, definitely, this Kragnar sold for higher than its retail, 92.50. The maximums are often higher than their retail price, but on average, generally not. So even 18 months later, could still get these figures for a pretty good discount, about 20% off retail price on average. Looking at the changes in average price by quarter, we can see here that in quarter 4, pretty much none of the figures went up except for very few of them, right? So we had Kragnar increasing in price. He's at his highest 2024 price overall. It's 74.40. And then we saw a lot of these sort of, the bottom prices seem to be the quarter 3 prices here, the average prices overall, and then they bounced up a little bit. But in general, they didn't really hit the quarter 1 or quarter 2 prices for the most part. The Sphexian Prison Guard, he went up a little bit. Again, he's at his highest price as well, $53 compared to some of these others here. But again, nothing's going to beat those quarter 3 2023 when they were first released. That was a standard pattern. So again, if you can avoid the original potential FOMO, when they're originally released. You can hopefully get some better prices later on, with the waves that have already been released and already been in production. Now, the Horsemen have said that production has been cut. They're not having as many extras. They're not planning to sell as many at shows and things like that in the future. Maybe retailers aren't ordering as many and that sort of thing too. So the production is a little bit lower for the waves that are revealed now, as opposed to the waves that were revealed a year or two ago, based on the state of the economy and the demand overall. So, that's always a risk that we run, but in general, it seems like for a lot of these, it's definitely able to get these for a pretty significant discount off the retail price, even now, 18 months after their release. Let's take a look and finish up with some more detailed looks over time at the sales of each of these figures. So we'll start with Slog. As you can see here, more recently, again, good number of sales in the latter half of 2024. And generally, he's been selling for anywhere around about $75, I'd say, for the most part, all the way up to about 120. So you really don't have to pay that 110, 120, that retail price. Generally, you should be able to get him for somewhere between, about $80 to $100 in a lot of cases at this point. So we will now look at Kragnar. Again, he was also one that was rising a little bit. As you can see, the more recent sales are around this 75 to 80 or $70 to $80 range for the most part. Not a lot of sales, below $60 in the latter half of 2024. So potentially he may be selling out at some places, at some retailers, and his price could be. It's something to keep an eye on moving forward into 2025 to see if his price is on the rise. So if you're in the market for a Kragnar and you see one for somewhere around $70, maybe even 75, that's probably not a bad price at this point. It doesn't seem like it's going to be that easy to find it for less than 70 moving forward. We'll have to see how that plays out. All right, looking at the Oleg Thygar Grave Ring. Again, this is the blue one. the standard figure. As you can see, here's her retail price, and no sales have been happening at the retail price or above, or I should say above the retail price. We've had some sell at retail, of course, but nothing is above retail price here. So all of these sales are between, at the low end here we got a 27.72, but generally between about $35 and $45 for an Oleg Figer. And again, that's the originally from the Horseman all the way back in 2021 when they went on pre-sale, he was selling for 37, right? And that's basically what he's selling for now as well. All right, Oleg Figar Hvalkatar. Again, his retail price was $60. One sale here that was above 60, but generally, again, similar story, selling for mostly between about 40 to $55 or so. Not as many sales though for the Oleg Figar Hvalkatar figure. So generally, can probably find him for around 50. I would say that's probably a pretty good price. Again, direct he was 48 from the Horseman, so. Um, Still, that's not too bad. I'm not going to bother looking at the relic of the lost krona. Not too many of these were sold overall. In general, let's look at the Sphexians. So as far as the Sphexians are concerned, again, the retail price is 60. A few of these did sell higher than 60 more recently, but in general, they're selling for somewhere between. I'd say most of the sales, in November and December, were around $45 to $50, right, for the Sphexians. It's pretty tight set of points around here of about $45 to $50 or so. So I'd say if you see one for 45 to 50, that's probably a pretty good price for the Sphexians. Not too many are selling for less than 45 at this point. That's the block commander. The prison guard had a little bit higher price on average, so let's see how that looks as far as his prices are concerned. Again, $60 retail, only one sold for higher than that. And again, not quite as many sales, it doesn't look like, but again, selling generally between about that $45 to $55 range here. So again, if you see one of these for 45, I'd say that's probably a pretty good price. All right, I'm going to look at all three of the tusks together because they tell a very similar story. All right, so looking at them overall, you can see that in general, the retail price is actually 45 on these, which I think a lot of us think is pretty high for these Legion builders, or these army builders, I guess. Maybe not. They are cosmic legions, right? Still call them a Legion builder. So 45 was the retail. Now some of these are pushing that point, right? So there were a lot of sales in that $40 to $45 range. So people are actually paying close to that retail price, but there are still a lot of sales in the $30 to $40 range too. I would say that if you see one for $30 to $40, that's probably where the market is right now. Again, you can get lucky and you can see a few here for even less than 25, but in general, that's not typically going to be the case. All right, I'm not going to bother with the hands here. So a couple more. We got Vorga. All right. Vorga, again, $50 retail, no sales above that in the latter half of 2024. Most of her sales are in that $35 to $42 range or so. Maybe a few people paid 45, but 35 to 45, I'd say for Vorga. She hasn't really taken off. And actually, none of them have taken off, to be honest. And then finally, we have Zirian Spire. So basically, nobody has bought Zirian Spire for retail going back into, I guess, maybe, sometime in May was the last time that one sold for retail. But in general, in the latter half of the year, you can see that she was selling for generally between about $33 on the low end, all the way up to about $44, $45 on the high end. So again, you can probably get her for around I'd say maybe like in this range right here with these points that are tightly clustered around, somewhere between $36 and $40. So that's the story for Cosmic Legion's Wave 1. I think it was produced in very large quantities, especially related to the demand. I think retailers went a little bit overboard as far as the ordering was concerned, and that's a good thing for the secondary market. So, with Mythic Legions, generally 18 months after the figures have been released, they've most of the time dried up at retail. You can't really find them, and then their prices start going up on the secondary market. That hasn't been the case for Cosmic. So if you're still looking to get into Cosmic, especially even that first wave, and you say, oh boy, I wasn't involved with the line back then, I don't want to go backwards. In this case, they often say it with Mythic Legions that it's tough to go backwards. With Cosmics, it's not that tough to go backwards because you're basically paying at or very similar to the pre-order prices on the secondary market today for these. And you can see that there have been some really good deals where some of these are going for $30 or less in a lot of cases. So that is it for our look at the Hvalkatar Book 1 wave in the fourth quarter 2024. Stay tuned for some more videos as we continue our market updates for all four Horseman lines, as well as a few other surprises to come. It's good to be back. And again, Happy New Year, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Like, subscribe, as everybody says. Be interested. I'd like to see a lot more sharing of the channel and that sort of thing. I'm going to do my part as well, so that hopefully we can start building a little bit more of a community here. If you have any thoughts or suggestions for me, email toylytics@gmail.com. Also, I changed my Instagram. I had a personal Instagram, changed it to Toylytics. That's the handle right now, so you can always check me there. I'm going to also start to be posting some more charts and graphs and things like that on Instagram to hopefully get some more build some more connection with the community there too. So again, look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care.